I genuinely thought I was doing well in this area until I put this list together for this video. I'm not even kind of close. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am taking you through a list of some of the popular contemporary romance books that are still on my TBR. These are hopefully some of the books that I am going to get through in the near future, and if I even get through them by the end of the year, that's going to be even better. First on the list is The Tourist Attraction by Sarah Morgenthaler. This is in the Moose Springs series, and I think that this is the first one. This book follows Zoe, who goes on holiday to Moose Springs in Alaska, and there she meets Graham, who is quite grumpy, and he's not super into the whole tourist attractions thing. So he has set up a cafe, I believe it is, which is called the Tourist Trap, and he kind of buys into that whole people come to Alaska for the experience thing. And then the two of them meet and they hook up and they get together. And she kind of turns his whole life around from being so grumpy and so looking down on everything to just putting a bit more sunshine into his life. Who doesn't want that to happen at the moment? Next one on the list is The Romance Book Club by Lyssa Kay Adams. This one was given to me as a Christmas present by Justine from I Should Read That. And it was given to me on the recommendation, not just of her, but also of her husband, who said that these were really great books. So this one is again the first in a series. You're following Gavin, who is experiencing a little bit of trouble in his marriage and things aren't going very well. So he and a couple of other friends who are also noticing a couple of problems in their relationships get together and read some romance books to kind of see what they could work on and find areas of their relationships and of their lives that they could bring a little bit more of a spark into. Next one on the list is yet another series. So this is the second book of the Brown Sisters trilogy. This is Take a Hint, Dani Brown. I've already read Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I think I've read that twice or maybe 3 times by now. And I absolutely loved it. And I think Dani was one of my favourite of the two sisters from that. So I am really excited to see where this takes us. I know that this one is a kind of a fake dating where Eve has to pretend that she is dating one of the security guards at the building where she works. Yes, a security guard called Zafir. I absolutely love a fake dating trope. It's one of my favorite romance tropes, so I am very certain that this book is definitely going to be for me. Yet another series that I have to continue. This one is The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. You may have seen that I put this on my winter TBR for this year, and didn't actually read it. So this one is still on my TBR, and I am very excited to get to this one. It follows Khan from the first book, who is set up with Esme, who is from Vietnam and looking for a husband. So they have a kind of an arranged marriage, somewhat fake dating trope. And then I think that real feelings come into it from there. And I really love to see that kind of romance blossom when you're put together in forced closeness, and then romance blossoms from there. That is something that I really love seeing. I also love that this book series has fantastic representation in it. It's got great Asian representation in it. It has fantastic autism representation. And also Stella from the first book is a woman who works in STEM, which is something that I don't really see a lot of in books. Next again is a full series, but this is one that I actually haven't read anything from. And that is all of the books by Jasmine Guillory. So I know that there are 5 in them and that they kind of work as a companion novel rather than a series, in that you don't necessarily have to read them all in order for them to work out. I've heard some really great things about them. I'm not entirely sure what each individual book is about, but I know that characters from each book will appear in the next book as a main character or as a side character or a friend of the main character. I know that there is one called Royal Holiday, and I know that the others are called The Wedding Date, The Proposal, The Engagement. I am really excited to get to them, and I have all 5 of them waiting on my Kindle because they were on a daily deal about 4 or 5 months ago by now, and I still haven't read them. Another romance series that I would really love to get to is Well Met by Jen DeLuca. This one has a Renaissance Fair vibe, and I've heard that Well Played, which is the sequel to this, also has that kind of a vibe to it. I am trying to get into historical fiction a little bit more, and I think having a contemporary book that has slight historical vibes to it, where the characters are taking part in a Renaissance fair and are dressing up in Renaissance clothing, eating Renaissance fair foods, I feel like that would be a good kind of introduction to me for that category when I haven't read a whole lot of it yet. The next romance book that's on my TBR is again a standalone, and it is The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. I don't have a copy of this book yet because it's not out until the end of April in ebook and the 1st of June, I think, as a paperback. And in this one, you're following Addie, who is going to the wedding of a friend of hers from Scotland. So she's driving the whole way up through the United Kingdom. And on the way, they are in a car accident. And the driver of the other car is her ex-boyfriend, Dylan, who is also on the way to the same wedding because they were a mutual friend. So Addie and Dylan have to travel in the same car together. And you can imagine the pandemonium that ensues when two exes are put in such forced closeness. I love a book that has a forced proximity. I love a road trip book and I love a romance book. I've also loved both of Beth O'Leary's books so far, so I have extremely high hopes for this one. The next book on the list is a standalone, and it is The Minute I Saw You by Paige Toon. So this one I have had since maybe September, October kind of time. I got it as a gift from Paige, from Pages with Paige, and the main reason I think she sent it is because of Paige, her name. So this one is about Sunny and Hannah, who spend a night together and don't expect to see each other again, but Sunny actually moves to the town where Hannah lives. And it's then about trying to navigate their whole friends with benefits situation that they had before and they thought that was going to end. But how do they bring it in now when they're going to be seeing each other a lot more? I really like Paige Toon's work. I have really loved a lot of books that I've read from her before. But I feel like I haven't read through her entire back catalogue. This is her most recent book. It came out in July of 2020. And I am going to start here and then I'm going to work my way back towards her back catalogue. The final book on my romance TBR that I want to get to is Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. This was very kindly sent to me by KJ from Bookish Babblings, I think around Christmas time as well. This one is about April, who writes quite a lot of fan fiction and is really interested in a particular show that I think is somewhat like Game of Thrones. And it's also about Marcus, who is the star of the show and a really avid fan fiction reader that nobody knows about. So, to kind of spite his critics one day, Marcus asks April out on a date, but then when he gets to meet her, he realizes that there is a lot more under the surface that he wants to discover about her. I am really interested in the idea of getting to meet your heroes and having them fall in love with you. This is a book that I am really interested in, and I cannot wait to get started with it. So those are all of the books that are as of present on my romance TBR. What books do you have left to read that have a romance vibe to them? Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.